Hello and welcome back to this channel. So in today's tutorial, we're going to draw this using Adobe Fresco. So let's just get started. I want you to click on Create New, Digital and Current Screen Size. So we're going to do a very simple sketch. For that, I'm going to go into my pixel brushes and go into sketching and then go into pencil. So this is a default brush that comes up when you open up any Fresco document. So you should be able to see it anyway. I'm going to make a basket. I don't want the basket to be nice and uniform as such, so use your freehand skills, drawing skills to draw it however you want. You can make it a little deeper here if you want so that it can hold a lot more blueberries. And then we're going to draw a rim around it like that. And then we're going to give a little bit of depth. So I see that it's really insane, so I'm going to do that. Plus, I'm going to just sketch up here. Make it look a bit neater for you guys. I usually just continue with the sketch that I have because I fix things during the drawing process. That's the sketch for the basket, and like I told you, you can always fix things when you're doing. I don't know why I'm editing my sketch so much. So if you want the sketch, I can give you the sketch as well for downloading. You can download and use it to create your own stuff. And then we want a lemon, so I'm going to your lemon is going to be around and a bit like that and a bit like that. So we want this shape. Basically, you can use your eraser and erase it off like this. Yeah, that's basically my lemon, how it's going to be. And I'm just going to make one because I feel like I can just multiply or duplicate them and put it around, so I'm not going to increase them. This is the basic sketch, and like I told you, I might change it when I'm drawing things out, so feel free to do that as well. So I'll go here and reduce the opacity so that I can see it a bit better. I mean, I can see my drawings a bit better. So plus, we're going to go ahead and start drawing our stuff. I want you to go ahead and choose some blue. So this outer ring tells you which color you want, so I will go near blue. And this one tells you how bright or how saturated it is basically. So I'm going to keep it all the way up and keep this here, and you can see the color that's chosen right now. It's this lightish blue. Go in my brushes, that's going to dry media, and I'm going to choose this hard pastel. And the size, let me just check. It's okay, I guess, but if you want, you can keep it a little thinner, maybe around 80s or 90s. You can use this to go up and down, or you can click and hold to get this, and you can type in whatever you want. Let's keep it at 90 so that it's consistent all around, and then click outside. Flow is set at 40. I'm not going to change it. The smoothing is at 1. Let it be there. And now we're going to go ahead and draw some blueberries, and I want you to make sure you draw some blueberries here and there, some bigger ones, some smaller ones, maybe some elongated ones, anything that seems good. And I don't want you to fill this with the light blue color that we have chosen because we're going to go ahead and add others as well. So I'm going to add a bit more here. I think that's okay. If you want, you can always come back and add more, so don't worry too much about it at the moment. Now I want you to go below the layer, anywhere below that layer, and plus again. And now we're going to make this a little darker. So I want you to bring this down a little bit, or you can also go here and use this and move this a little bit to make it a little darker. And now I'm going to add more blueberries, and I'm going to make sure that there are it's a bit darker for my taste. I think I was showing it to you, so I'll move it a bit here. You can see it's around 78-ish. When I picked it up, it was at 100 obviously, so now I'm going to make it around 80-ish. You can also click and hold here and type in the number if you want, this exact blue color. Okay, and then I'm going to add some blueberries here, same way like I did earlier. You might want to get some out of your basket on this side. And in here, I'm going to try and keep them inside the basket. Over here, I mean. Okay, that looks good. Now again, go back down and plus to create a new layer. Again, we're going to increase this a little bit more so that it's a little darker now. And then we're going to add some more blueberries. If you feel the color is not too dark, undo using your 2-finger tab. And then bring it further down. I'm going to keep it at 60. I think that should be better. Then add more of them here. There you go. And you don't want the dark ones to come out as well, so I'm going to add some here. That should be good. Now we'll go all the way down and plus, and we're going to make this even more darker, and this time I'll keep it around 40s to make it quite dark. And we're going to go ahead and color this basket. Make sure that you stay within the lines and color it off. Yep, there shouldn't be any white spaces, so make sure you color them perfectly. All right. I like the nice texture of this brush. Look how textury this is. It's one of my favorite things about this brush, so I try to use it as often as I can. All right, and now let's go ahead and add some details to the blueberries. I'm going to click on plus, and let me go into, there are so many other pencils here. You can use rough pencil or scratchy pencil. Probably let's take the scratchy pencil and see. Yeah, that looks good. So I'm going to keep it at 15. Flow is at 90. I haven't changed any default things. Okay, now I'm going to draw things to the blueberries. You need some eyes to the blueberries, and make sure you don't draw all of them at the top or something. Like, try to give it some in the center, some in the corners, some on the top, well as some in the bottom. You just see me scribbling like that, right? And some over edges here. So I want you to do this only on the lighter blue ones, not the dark blues or anything underneath, because we are assuming that they are in the shadows, though you can't see their markings. Or maybe we can give some. So go back to the second layer, plus for that layer, and you can just add a bit. But I'm going to add use the same color, but I'm going to make it a little darker, I guess. Or you can make it darker. Let's do that. Bring it a bit more, slightly darker, not much. So I'm going to add a bit, but I'm making it very light. It's not very strong because, as you see, it's in the shadows, so you want them to have lighter color. That should be fine. You don't have to draw on everything. It's all right. Okay, so we are done with that, and let's go ahead and finish up the basket now. So I want you to go below this basket layer, this background layer. Click on plus. Now go to the layer where you have drawn the background for the blueberries, and go below that layer and click on plus. Let's choose the color. We're going to go ahead and use the orange bit over here. Go all the way up, and I want you to make it a slightly orange and bring it a bit down so it's orangey brown. You know what I mean? 3577. You can use the same colors. I'm going to check up. I need a different brush. I'm going to go here, and you can go into recents, and you'll see your hot pastel. Let's use that. Let's check. Okay, I want the color to be a bit more reddish, so I'm going to go ahead and bring this down a little bit like that. Now let's see. Yes, that is perfect. So the color was 2577. Maybe make it a little lighter. Yep, 2598 and 84. So let's see. Okay, that's good. Now I'm going to go ahead and draw the rim. Okay, now I'm going to go here and increase this to about a little darker shade. That's 64. Go behind this layer and plus for a new layer, and we're going to draw the bottom of the basket now like that. Let's go ahead and give the basket a bit more of detail. So I'm going to go into this layer here, the light brown one, plus, and now click on this to create a clipping mask. What this does is whatever you draw here will show up only on the orange brown layer. Okay, now we're going to go here and use the same color, that the darker brown that we have. I'll go in here and choose, go into dry media, and in here we can choose any brush, maybe rough pencil, because I think that'll look nice. And we're going to go ahead and create a round shaped tweets like this. You know, you can just draw lines. You don't have to bend them out or anything like that. And you see, this one doesn't even look nice, so don't worry about it. And I think I want to change the bits here, increase the size of the eraser, go back, and now let's go ahead and make the lemons. So All this is done. Now I want to group this basket into one, because if I want to move it anywhere, then it'll be easier. So now go ahead and choose everything that is connected with the basket. So click on that, click on three dots here and click on select multiple. Now click everything that you need for the basket, including the blueberries. Once you have all of them selected, click on this folder icon here, and now you can hide them out if you want with one click. Now let's draw the lemons. So I'm going to go back here and click on plus for a new layer for lemon, and we're going to choose some lemon yellow. So go all the way up here as well, and I think let's choose the hot pastel brush. This is a very nice lemon yellow, so we're going to use that. So I want you to go ahead and draw the shape of the lemon. If you feel the brush is too big, reduce it to whatever is comfortable for you. And now what we're going to do is uncheck the sketch and make sure that you have drawn a perfect lemon, because sometimes it's harder to figure out what we are doing when you have a sketch in the background. Like for example here, it doesn't have really nice smooth transitioning, but that's okay. Okay, once you have that, I want to click on plus and click on clipping mask, because we're going to add some orange bits here. So go here and pull this down a little bit so that it's a bit slightly orangey. You can see these numbers here, 4800 and 100. And I'm going to go ahead and give a bit here. Oh, that's too dark. We are going to reduce the opacity. You have to give this color where it's closer to the ground. So it's just here. I'm going to go into my levels and reduce the layer opacity so that it's slightly there, but it's not too obvious. You know what I mean? I want to go ahead and add a bit more here actually. And I'm using lighter pressure here so that you see this texture. Let me just increase this to show it to you. See this texture here? That's because I'm using lighter pressure. If I use too much, then it's darker like that. So when you use lighter pressure, it shows up very nice like this. So it also gives a very nice transition. Okay, so that lemon is fine. Now plus, and I want to create one more layer because we're going to use some green. So move this to green and maybe this green, I really don't care. And then go to your rough pencil under dry media, and we're going to draw a tiny bit of stalk here like that, and probably put a leaf if you want to. It's totally up to you. And now what we're going to do is we're going to group this together as well. Click, select multiple, click, click, and group it together. The reason I do this is because I want you to reflect it so that we have a couple of more lemons. So click and duplicate layer group. So you have one more now on top of this. Use your transform tool here, and then you can come and bring it up here and rotate it. If you want to flip it, there's an option here to flip it. So I'm going to flip it vertically like this, and then maybe keep it in an angle like that, or maybe like this. That looks better. Okay, click on done. You can do one more, so click and duplicate layer group, and then use this here, and then bring it up, and then make it a bit like that, maybe here or something, and then you're done. You can also go back to this one and click transform and increase the size. Let's make one lemon big, another one, you know, smaller, and things like that, I guess. Then it'll look better. So this one, I'm going to use that and bring it back up like this, maybe. Okay. When you're using things to make it bigger or smaller, make sure to use the corner anchor points and not the middle ones, otherwise it'll distort it. Once you're done with all these things, click on done. So now it's time to add some background. So I'm going to go all the way down to the back of all these things that we have created and click on plus. Let's go ahead and draw the blanket that we always wanted to draw. So you can use all sorts of colors for this, but I think I'm going to go ahead and use the same blue that I had for the blueberries. The reason I'm doing that is that I want to show you a trick here called hue saturation, you know, where you can control your colors. So we're going to try that out. Okay, let's go ahead and fill this up by using your fill tool. As a vector or pixel, doesn't matter. I think it's too dark, so I'm going to undo that. I didn't realize that was so dark, so we're going to go ahead and use this and reduce this up to here so that it's 196, 51, and 100. and we're going to go ahead and fill it up with vector or pixel, doesn't matter, you can do anything you want. So now I'll click on plus, and we're going to go ahead and choose white for our brush, and then we will use hard pastel, and make sure it's up to around 250s or so, so that's a lot bigger than what it should be. And we're going to go ahead and draw stripes now like this with a bit of spacing between the two. Make sure everything is drawn. I'm going to make this a bit more better. Now I want you to click on a different layer, plus, and we're going to go ahead and draw the stripes in this direction now. Make sure there's a bit of blue here, otherwise it looks a bit weird. I think that's fine, and I want you to go into levels and reduce the opacity a little bit. And I also want you to go into the other layer and reduce the opacity a little bit. Now I want you to go on top of all these layers, click on plus. Let's go into brushes and select rough pencil. We're going to go ahead and draw some white lines now like this. And I would recommend that you don't draw absolutely straight lines using the draw and hold method like this to create straight lines. See, this is a straight line now. I don't want that. And do it on the other side as well. And once you're done with that, I'm going to click on plus. I'm going to choose a blue, maybe this one, 196, 160. And on the new layer, I'm going to draw a few more lines like within these white lines. So you need to draw it like this. If you feel this blue is very dark, don't worry about it, because we can go ahead and fix it with the layer opacity. I'll do it on the other side. And I definitely want to fix it with layer opacity because that'll look much better. And there you go. Now I'm going to go ahead and group these layers again, select multiple and group them. So now if you want to change this background color, it's so simple. Now I'm going to click on this icon here, which is appearances. So what we're going to do is we're going to change the color of this layer, but we want that to be applied only to the background layer and nothing else. Since we don't have anything below this background layer that we have created, we don't have to worry too much. But in case you do have elements down and you want that color change to apply to only that particular thing that you want to, you can always use this thing called clip. And once you click on that, now click on hue saturation, and you see this new layer that gets created gets clipped to that particular thing that you want, and it won't apply to the layers below it. Okay. All right. So here you can control the color. You can make it purple, pink, any color that you want actually, and you know, maybe more orangish. You can make it bluish, or yeah, like I told you, you can make it anything that you want. And since the yellows look really good on blue, that was the reason I chose. You can make it a little lighter. You have these numbers here. You can always click and hold and change that as well, because if you want to go back to 0, 0, 0, 0 is the thing that we started with. So if you want to go back to that, you can type that in as well, or you know, reduce this and make this little lighter as well, if that's what you're looking for. Anyways, I've kept it at 3 just because I wanted to show you guys that this is an option that you could do. Click back here and you'll be back to this. So now we're going to add these shadows, and I want you to go on top of the background layer and its color changes, whatever you have done. And we're going to go ahead and choose the dark brown that we have here. You can also click and hold here to choose that particular color, or you can always go back and choose it from here, your choice. And then we'll go into hard pastel again, and we're going to draw some shadows. I want you to change this to multiply, and then we have to reduce the opacity, but we'll do it later depending on how things are looking. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and too big, so we're going to reduce this to about 40s or 50s, anything that will help you control. And we're going to draw a shadow like this. It's fine. And you can draw the ones for this as well, like that, this as well, and yeah, maybe like that. Okay, and we'll go here and reduce the opacity to be about like that, 50s or so. You want it very light, and there you have it. You can always go back and edit your shadows, use your eraser, cancel. Where am I? Okay, on the layer here, and you can just delete it like that and go back and give a fresh one if you feel like that wasn't all right. Now we need to give shadows to the blueberries because they look a bit weird right now, right? So I'm going to go into the blueberry. I could have done this earlier, but you can double click on these groups, and to get out you just press on this icon here, so double click to get inside. Now we'll go into the layer which has these blueberries which are slightly darker than the topmost layer, that is this one here. Now I'm going to click on plus and create this into a clipping mask because I'm going to add my shadows here. Now I want you to go and select that shade of blue that the blueberry is. You can also select it from here, that's not a problem. We're going to go into a brush to create this shadow effect, so I want you to click over here, go to basic and choose soft round opacity. I've set it around 54, 50-ish. This one is set to 100. Maybe you can reduce it to about 70s. Smoothing is at 1, doesn't matter. Let's go here and select this as multiply. And if you want, you can reduce the opacity here now itself so that you can see what's happening. And I want you to go ahead and add a bit of shadow right where the light blue blueberry meets the darker blue blueberry. If you want, let's increase this and you see what's happening. So I'm going to decrease that. So it might be a bit harder for you guys to see what I'm doing, but if you pull back, you can see it on your iPad or on your device. You can notice that it feels like the lighter blueberries are on top of the darker ones when you use this method. So I'm going to go ahead and add a bit of shadow everywhere where this light blue is on top of this darker blueberry. There you go. I think that's done. Now let's go to the darker shade of the blue here, plus clipping mask. Again, make this into multiply. You can reduce this about 70s. You can also click and hold and type in here. And then we're going to choose the shade of the darker blueberry here. And then we're going to add some shadow here where the second darkest blueberry meets the darkest one, okay? I know it might be a bit confusing, but I'm just trying to make them look like they are in the background a little bit. And now in the end, I would like to do something else, that is go back here to the main, go to the top of the layer, click plus to make sure you're on a different layer. And we're going to bring in some texture. So there's a link to download some free textures. I will leave it in the description box below. Go ahead and download it. Once you have downloaded it, get it into your Fresco. I have mine saved in files, so I'm going to get it from there. If you have it in photos, go ahead and get it from here. Once you have a texture, pull it up from the corners and click on done. And I will go into levels and make this into multiply. And that will apply the texture. If you want, you can reduce the effects of the texture by reducing the layer opacity here, and you can see it has this worn effect right now. And then there you go, your artwork is ready. And once you're ready to export it, or once you're done with it, you can click here. And if you want to preview a time lapse or export a time lapse, you can do that by clicking here. Otherwise, click on publish and export as, and you can type in whatever you want here, PNG, JPEG, PSD or PDF, and then click on export and save it on your device or anywhere that you want to send it to. And that brings us to the end of this tutorial or class, and I hope you liked it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. If you want to support this channel, you can always buy me a coffee at ko-fi.com. The link to do that is in the description box below. If you create something using one of my tutorials, don't forget to tag me and print me some color on both Instagram and TikTok. I guess I'll see you in the next video then. Bye bye.